What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So I started playing around with this body here that we got yesterday, or whenever it is that this video will go up. But as of right now, I got this body that I'm guessing came from Guitar Fetish and their factory buyout clearance stuff. So I did sand the face of it a little bit to get an idea what's going on. And then after the fact, I scraped the binding, and we'll look at that here in a minute. But first, here's a little video I made for a buddy of mine. I figure, why say it again? But we'll get a little more up close and intimate with this body here in just a moment. And, you know, let's toss some ideas around. I took the sander to it. And no, there's no fancy veneer because this thing was painted black before someone murdered it with spray paint. There's not much of a binding on the edge, but I'm sure I could scrape that once I decide what finish to put on it. So like I kindly mentioned in that last video, I just hit it with my orbital sandal real quick with 80 grit, I think. Just enough to get through here to see what was going on. And it did turn out to have a black finish at one point. I can see a lot of spaces where things were filled. But overall, it's pretty straightforward. There's no fancy veneer or top, but it ended up with some kind of a solid finish. I can only guess it was originally black, because I know the dude before me hit it with the green. He admitted to it. And that green went everywhere. So I'm over here earlier. I took a fresh X-Acto blade, tried to find the binding and how thick it's going to be. And I just hit the blade to that thickness and leave it there with my hand. A little something that you have to do by feel. So I did this all the way around the body. All the way around, just to get one solid line. And if you can look here and notice, it seems like the binding's thinner in a lot of spots. Pay no mind to some of the paint that's still on it, but here it's considerably more thick than it is, say, down here in this part of the lower bout. And it's now that I'm looking at it through my cell phone, it's hard to convey the thickness. I mean, you can see the binding clearly right here, but there's no finish over it here, and it's super thin. You can still see it, but in comparison to up here, it genuinely is way too thin. So I think, regardless of the finish we decide to go with on this, the binding's out of the picture, except if I want to scrape the side binding and maybe just do a quick little hair on the edge. I don't know. It's cream, so then we have to worry about that. The reason I started to scrape anyway was because there's a lot of green bled into the binding, and I was kind of hoping to get rid of that to see what the true color is. And in most cases I can, and it is a bone color, but there's some areas where the green just seeped in so thick. I don't know. The binding's a problem. I think the trick is going to be to clean up the sides and see where we get with that. Maybe we'll keep the binding, maybe we won't. I don't mean to keep focusing just on the binding, but that's really going to make the biggest difference on, you know, what we're going to do as far as making this thing look rad. My girlfriend said that she likes the way it looks now. I just don't think the colors are even enough, and maybe that's the point. Maybe they're not supposed to. Maybe I should just go up to my old work and grab a couple of different colors of Montana spray and just go nuts, you know? Spray it all over, sand it back a little bit, spray it over, sand it back again. And what you end up doing is getting really interesting patterns. And then you get to a point where some of the wood won't even be showing. Maybe it will. Maybe I'll just stain it dark and leave it like this. I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, it's no longer green, but it ain't quite clean. So we finally got everything off of it for the most part. I didn't even see that outside. But there are little spots here where the black seeped in a little bit more. And yeah, the binding won't come clean. Maybe now if I do some handwork it will. I really hope I can use the binding. But as far as the sides are concerned, I'm going to do those by hand with just 220. There's really not much on the back that I need to correct as far as, you know, fills or anything like that. I think it just needs a good sand and another layer of a protective coat. And to be perfectly honest with you, the finish was cool. And I bet you if I had cleaned it up and put a clear coat on it, it would have looked nice. It really would have, despite the sloppiness of it. But there was a gouge here in the paint that I would never have been able to correct it properly. And that's what sparked me to to just sand the whole thing and make it naked. So this stuff is right here, as people sprayed before cleaning out all the sawdust. You know, they probably hit it once with air and then psh, and that's what you get. You get little clumps of shit that looks like dirt and grime and gross. But I'm probably just going to end up doing that all just black anyway. So I was looking at some of the ejectors and everything. If I take my time and do it properly, I think this could be that bad, Larry. Maybe use the modern Fishman Fluence in here, the ones that have the big long rails going down the middle of it. But that's way too far ahead. I do have an idea for a bridge. Zounds just sell, I believe it's a Schaller. And what's cool about that is it's compensated to go up and down in case you have, you know, a compound fretboard radius going on. But so it's highly customizable. But I could pay for it over a course of so many months. But also in maybe a nice neck. Maybe I'll keep my eye out for a, you know, like a Kramer neck locally that is fairly inexpensive, or even a Jackson or a Charvel neck. Something like that. It definitely has to have, unfortunately, the locking nut. Unless you've got experience using locking tuners, a very well oiled and cut nut with a Floyd style trim, let me know in the comments if we can make it happen. I don't do a lot of dive bombs and stuff. I'm more of a whirly kind of guy. More ambience than effect, but I don't know. It's in the infant stages. I literally just removed the paint. Now I get to geek over what I may be able to do in the future. So guys, thanks as always so much for watching. I hope you're excited to follow this. We are going to be updating a few other projects here pretty soon. So if there's something from the past that you've been following that we haven't updated yet, I say that like I'm a network, that I haven't updated yet, I promise you it'll come up. And there are a few things that aren't here anymore, and we discussed that also the other day, that it's when it's time to move it forward, it's got to go. Regardless if I like it or you like it, that's how this came to be. I got rid of one, the other one showed up. That's how the universe works. Guys, wherever in the world you are, I hope you're doing well. Thumbs up, thumbs down, all feedback to the Creep is positive. Thank you always so much for watching. Until next time, take care, keep it real, and bye-bye.